Hi, I'm Chris Upham with Coldwell Banker, and today I'll be sharing with you the first in a series of the top 5 most costly buyer mistakes. The first in our series is going to be when buyers do not have a clear sense of their comfortable price range. I find that a lot of times buyers often kind of start this process backwards, where they'll find a house that they really like and then try to figure out if, how the financing will work. Or, sometimes I find almost worse is they go about it with a sense of ego of, this is the type of house that I want to have, or this is the type of house that I like, without starting first with what's the price that I feel comfortable with. So the other thing would be, and so when they go with this approach, a lot of times they end up having to start over with, afterwards. So, but I know that all you guys are smarter than to do this, but perhaps you've fallen into the trap of looking at the mortgage estimators or the calculators on the real estate website. Even my website, uphamrealestate.com, has financial calculators on it for mortgages, but I would like to caution you, while they'll be very accurate at telling you what the principal and interest will be for a given down payment and principal amount and interest rate, what I find is that they're almost too dangerous for it to be any good, in that it's the things that you don't know that could cost you thousands of dollars. And that is, well, which loan programs are actually available, or what are the best ones suited for your case? What interest rate should you be using on this? I know you can go online and find interest rates, but which one applies in the particular situation that we're talking about here? And also that they often don't end up including the taxes, the insurance, mortgage insurance, all these types of things, which can end up making as much as $1,000 or more difference in the monthly payment, which for people can be a significant amount. So while those tools and the mortgage calculators on the websites can be helpful, I find that it ends up being really important to connect with a professional that can actually work through those calculators with you. Some buyers, I find, they do the seemingly intelligent step, which is to call a lender and ask, how much do I qualify for? I don't know how many times I've heard this, but that also ends up being a little bit of a backwards approach, because what they'll do is they'll ask, they'll run through the ratios and ask your income, your assets, your debts, and they'll do the debt to income ratios, and they'll tell you, okay, great, we qualify you for this amount. When in reality, you're not comfortable with the payments that are associated with a loan of that amount. So what I have found, that there's actually 2 simple numbers that they break this whole process down, and with these 2 numbers we can quickly and easily figure out what your comfortable price range is. And the first is, how much savings do you plan to use for the purchase? Number 1. Number 2 would be, what have you budgeted for your monthly housing payment, including the principal, interest, property taxes, insurance, condo fee. And with those 2 numbers, I can take a look, working with the lenders, and say, hey, listen, what are the loan programs that will most likely fit in this program? What type of place are you looking for? And be able to optimize how much savings you're planning to use for the purchase, and how much you have budgeted for your monthly housing payment. We can work to optimize that so that you can spend the least money possible but still get the place you want, and know which price range you're comfortable with. So I find that there's not a lot of agents that actually go into that detail with people. I think a lot of times they leave it to the lender to do, and sometimes the lender does this with a good faith estimate after somebody has a contract. But here at Upham Real Estate, we start on our very first meeting with buyers, and we will have already gotten those 2 important numbers from you of how much savings do you plan to use for the purchase, and what have you budgeted for your monthly housing payment. We will have already gotten those numbers before our meeting, and I will prepare an estimated settlement cost that will not only go into how much would your monthly payment be, what are the sales prices that are in a comfortable range, and what will be the closing costs, so that you know how much cash you will actually need to purchase the house, taking all of the factors into account. taking into account home inspections and warranties and appraisals and all the different types of things that you need that might be costs that you might not have thought about. But so not only will we discuss that at our first meeting, but then also as you start to get interested in specific properties, well, I will have given you a estimate sheet that covers a number of different ranges of prices, so that as you're looking at different homes, you can kind of look to see, okay, here's where that fits and what it means to me. And then, if there's this particular property that you're looking at, I'll do another more specific estimate for that property. And then before you make an offer on a property, the very first thing that we'll talk about will be the estimate based upon that property. And I will have specifically spoken with your lender about that property, about that offer, about the specific nuances that could be involved, any of the financing hurdles that could be involved, so that we make sure we try to take that into account. And then we end up working with a few other estimates before we get to settlement. But my goal is, I'm never trying to impress people with low numbers on my estimates, but instead to be able to present a conservative, realistic number. And my end goal is that once you get to settlement, you'll be pleasantly surprised that the final numbers are actually less than what we had been estimating all along. So that's the first in our series of the top 5 most costly buyer mistakes, and that is not having a clear picture of your comfortable budget.